Nandalala, Charanam. We're going to start our second session now. Can't wait to hear from all of you. And so let's begin with our first speaker, and that's Karthik. Thank you so much.
Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. Namaste to everyone. Before I begin, just want to say thank you to Nandalala, New Jersey, and to Madhuri Akka for this wonderful opportunity to speak about Sri Ambal. And in fact, I have been listening to. It's also not only I'm getting to speak, but in this opportunity, I'm also getting to listen to so many of the devotees and sharing their perspectives and their stories of and their experiences of in their lives with Sri Ambal, and that has been very much wonderful to listen to, and it's been a very, very divine experience in that way also. So so I just want to share a few things about how I got introduced to Sri Ambal, and just a few other incidents from my life. I got introduced to Ambal through my grandfather. We were in Bangalore at that time, and I was in high school in age group when I first got to know about Ambal through my grandfather. His name was GK, and he was a very, he was already a big devotee of Ambal, and we had a Sri Chakram at home, and he was very devotional type of a person. And when of course he heard about Sri Ambal and how Kanchi Paramacharya had identified her, then it was just there was no further questions that was needed, and so he was completely devoted. And so through him, all of us in our family are pretty much from that point on became completely devotees, completely surrendered to Sri Ambal on all things. So right from like I said, from around that, when I was in high school age itself, we have been devotees of Ambal. Any big decisions that we need to make in the family is always done. It was always done with asking Ambal first. It's Ambala Kekla. That is the standard operating procedure for any big decisions about anything. So I have been and we were in Bangalore, and so whenever there were events happening, Nandalala events that would take place in Bangalore, so I also had the opportunity to spend time and participate in those events. Of course, I have to say that at that age, I did not have that kind of understanding or that which I of or to appreciate that moment that I was in the presence of Ambal Abdin, that did not register quite well at that time. So I was a little bit playful and not so so much attentive. But yet, I think when I look back now, I think Ambal was there, and she was there and watching over me and over all of us, even from that point, even though I probably was not so attentive. I just wanted to share one or two incidents in that way. One time in Bangalore, there was a Nandalala Seva Samiti of Bangalore had organized a picnic, and it was at some park kind of a location where a lot of families and their children and Ambal was there, and we all went to that park, and we had a picnic lunch and so on. And at that time, Ambal was asking some questions to the kids. As everybody knows, Ambal had a very a strong affection towards kids, and she was always trying to connect with the kids there and engage them and teach them and try to inculcate the devotion in them. And so in this situation, after we had our picnic lunch, and there were I think there were about 50 plus people in that picnic group, and many kids, of course, of all age groups. So we were all there, and Ambal was asking some quiz questions about our Hinduism and bhakti and so on. And of course, at that time there was a cricket match that was going on, and so I was more in, and somebody there had a radio, and so I was less interested in the questions that Ambal was asking, and more interested in the cricket match and the score of the cricket match. And so this was, and I was just half listening to what Ambal was talking, or Ambal was saying at that time. And so, and then after a few questions, and when somebody got some answers right, and then Ambal said, "Oh, you got a correct answer. Here is a gift for you." And so she was giving some shirts, like T-shirts, as a reward for the kids who answered correctly. And so that when I saw that happening is when then I started to feel like, oh, maybe I should pay attention. So maybe I will also get a shirt. And then at that point is when I started to pay a little bit more attention to the quiz, but I didn't really get any of the answers. And then after some time, the questions were over, so I didn't have any further chance of winning the T-shirt. So I was a little bit slightly disappointed that I couldn't get a shirt. And so I was just and then just as I was thinking about that, and how that I should have probably paid a bit more attention for the quiz, and within a few seconds I heard somebody calling my name, and they said it was a person standing next to Ambal that time, and so she said, "Come here." And then as soon as I came there, and then Ambal had a T-shirt in her hand, and she said she gave it to me. And so it was a very I was stunned at that I had just had that thought, and immediately that wish was granted. And so I did namaskaram and took that shirt. So it was it was a very a great moment for me. In fact, I still have that shirt. I brought it out. I've been carrying this shirt with me ever since. So this was the shirt that Ambal gave to me. So of course I grew out of the shirt within 1 or 2 years, but it's still with me, and it's been with me all this time. So that was a very great experience for me. So like I said, even though throughout my upbringing, I have I've always, through family and through my grandfather and my parents and so on, we've always been used to kind of having Ambal as a kind of a guiding light for all things, about everything. So it has to the point where even now, anytime I have to do anything, there is always that you have, even when you're about to start something, I just say Sharanale me Madhyoli Sharanam, and say that 5 times or 3 times in my head before I start something. So other than that, it has become kind of a routine thing. And so that, and of course, that the realization of who Ambal is, and the divinity in Ambal, and that only happened gradually. But just having Ambal as your first god to pray to has been the case for a long time, and so I'm really grateful for that. Another incident was when in Bangalore again, there was a Koti Lingeshwara temple, and in that temple, Ambal had. So it is the temple is Koti Lingeshwara, which means there are 1 crore lingams in that temple. And of course, it wasn't exactly 1 crore, but that was the objective of the temple, was to have 1 crore lingams. That is why it was called Koti Lingeshwara. And there was opportunities for devotees to bring and install a lingam in that temple. So we Ambal had and Nandalala Seva Samiti had had a installation of a lingam in that temple. So there was again a big event and a big Pratishtapana puja that was organized, and we all went in a big van, and again a lot of families, a lot of people who all went to that temple, to the Kotilingeshwara temple, for the prana pratishtapana of the lingam. And so we were all standing there, and then Ambal she said, she called me and she said, this boy will do the puja and for the pratishtapana. So it was like a complete shock. So again, to show how Ambal has always been encouraging for kids to get more involved in the process of bhakti and divinity. So she just picked me, and so I was just really nervous at that time that I got picked, and of course really happy, of course, also. But and so I actually went, and the Vadyar told me what to do, and then I sat and I did the puja, and all the procedures of installing the lingam in that temple. So that was also a wonderful experience. So like that, then through various stages of my life, with coming to the US for studies, getting married, and so on, and at every instance, it has been always to always ask Ambal, or to pray to Ambal at every point in the process when any big decisions are to be taken. So from that sense, it has been so. Whenever whether you have a big decision, or when you have a difficult point in your life where you need guidance, or when you need that, when you need some, you're looking for that support, and it has always been Ambal who was there, in either in her physical form, or not, or in her spirit form, that she has always been there to provide that guidance and provide that support. So I'm really grateful for that, and also grateful to Nandalala, New Jersey, and to Madhuri Akka for re-establishing that closeness with Ambal, and in terms of the wonderful Sankata Vimochana Ganapati pujas that happen, the chantings, the videos that Nandalala, New Jersey, that Madhuri Akka puts out on YouTube, and also these videos where we can share our experiences through this. And so I'm really thankful and grateful for this opportunity, and so thank you once again. Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. For this opportunity.
Uncle, you can start.
Okay, thank you, Madhuri. It was yesterday, I think, Madhuri called us and called me, and whether I would like to speak. It was a great pleasure. I want to share some of my experiences, and before I begin, let me offer prayer to her. Madhyoli Sharanam, Jai Nandalala. Madhyoli Vitmahe Atma Balaya Dhimagi Dhanno Lakshmi Prajodhya Saraswajita Vitmahe Madhi Jwalaya Dhimagi Dhanna Shiva Prajodhyad. Our association with her goes back to almost more than 50 years. Thanks to Shiva Ganesh's Tata, Mr. Muthuswamy Iyer, our wife, then our brother Subramanya Iyer, I think, who lived in Bombay and then later on moved to Chennai. Both brothers moved to Chennai in the early 70s or even late 60s, I think. And then, so through them, and I think one day sometime in 1973, we have been trying to get a marriage fixed for my sister. Girija. She was the last of the sisters. And we wanted to get her married before I was being assigned abroad, which was the discussion going on in my company, IBM, at that time. So we were praying to God to get the marriage done. And unbeknown to me, Mr. Muthuswamy's wife called us from Chennai to Bombay, and on the phone said that her nephew, one Gopalan from Edmonton, Alberta, has come, and he was staying with his cousin, and he is available to come and see the girl. Now, I think my mother is a very orthodox woman, and also plus she was also very much believed in astrology. She immediately said, "How can you do it? We have not even seen the horoscope or anything, and I don't know," and all that. To which I think Muthuswamy's wife told us on the phone, நீங்க ஒன்றுக்கும் கவலைப்படாதீங்க. அம்பாள் அக்காவோட அப்பெல்லாம் in our generation we were calling what we call அம்மா, now akka. At that time அக்கா வார்த்தை கொடுத்தாக்க உடனே we can get the marriage done. So after the conversation, I convinced my mother that this is like a divine intervention. And we knew about Akka at that time, but not that much, just peripherally. But still we believed because I was very close to Mr. Muthuswamy and Mr. Subramaniam. In some ways, they are related to us. Plus, Mr. Muthuswamy's brother Subramaniam was also a ex-colleague of my dad. So with that connection, we said, let's go with this. So anyway, to cut a long story short, Gopalan came, saw the girl, and we were ready to marry. But then my mother was still having lingering doubts. And immediately Muthuswamy's wife called us and said that she will ask Akka's permission through a flower. You offer the flower, and then if it comes in the right way, I think the marriage can go on. And it did happen. And believe it or not, with the Muthuswamy's family's help, we had the marriage done. Actually, we went to their house and then marriage done in Ambattur. All the arrangements were done by their family. And with the blessing of Akka, the marriage was done. And 50 years later now, I think Gopalan and Giri, with God's grace and Akka's grace, will be celebrating their 50th wedding anniversary, as well as Gopalan's 80th birthday later this year. Now, as it was expected, and with God's blessing, I moved out of India along with my family in 1974, and since then have been living abroad, eventually settling down in Canada. Now, every year when we used to go, most of the years we visited her wherever she was in either Chennai or nearby places, and sought her blessings. One other incident, and I think in the 90s, my mother, who was at that time around 75, 76, was very seriously ill. And I was told by the doctor to call all my relations. And I called my sister, Giri, who at that time was in Buffalo, along with Akka and Gopal, and they were visiting, and they were to visit to Toronto a couple of days later. And I said, Amma's health is very critical. You better come. She went and talked to Akka, and Akka said, don't worry, we'll go as per our plan. Nothing will happen to your mother. We'll be fine. So she relayed this. I said, okay, fine. I think so. We were kind of, we were in a shock as well as kind of semi-belief in the sense, here is a woman who was critically ill. The doctor has said she's critical. But here comes the news that, we can come later, not an issue. So I didn't know what to do, but we went along. And as they arrived, I took both my sister and Akka to the hospital and dropped them at the hospital entrance and told my sister the ICU ward that my mother was, and asked them to go up. And I said, I'll park the car and come. And they went inside. I don't know what happened. A few minutes later, believe it or not, when I showed up, my mother, who was very critical, was supposed to be very critical, was sitting on the bed and talking nicely to Akka. And this was miracle. This is a divine miracle. And I think, well, we had given up hopes, and the hope came back through Akka's blessings and divine influence. I mean, there's nothing else other than a miracle. Now, I want to fast forward and a couple of conversations we had with Akka. I think it was in the early 2000, that 2002 or somewhere thereabout. I think, I don't know the exact year, but anyway, she came and visited us, and then we were chatting, and then she said, I feel like having pizza. I said, oh, fine, no problem. She said, I also asked her, have you seen the lake shore in Toronto, as well as Harbourfront, which is a nicer place. It is right on the Lake Ontario, for those of you who are not seen Toronto. And it's a beautiful place just to walk in and relax. She said, nobody takes me. They always treat me divinely, but nobody gives you puja and all that, but I have not had pizza. Here was a very divine woman, and she was behaving in a very simple sort of way. I mean, it just struck me as her simplicity and her desire to be normal, desire to be mingling and enjoying. So literally that night we had pizza we went to a pizza place, had sightseeing, and then came back. So I think she has made, in our family, she has made an indelible mark, and we are full of devotion. We may not participate in many of the things that Madhuri organizes because of the health of my wife recently for the last few years. But we do pray every day, and we do the Gayatri Mantra, and also on every week, at least once or twice, we chant her Ashtalakshmi Stotram, and offer the puja. Anyway, once again, I want to thank Madhuri for giving me this opportunity to share a bit of our experiences, which for us are unique and were divine. Her interventions in our family are great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone. Madhuli Sharanam, Illa Purum Balike, Jai Nandalala. I'm Karthik Rajaram. I'm currently working in the UK. So my experiences with Akka start in 2002. I had just completed my post-graduation in maxillofacial surgery. So, and my grandmother took me to Nandalala temple. Appo and the title Akka was giving vibhuti in sitting in front of the temple chair. So party sonna in the exam result wait pannirukanga. So appo Akka immediately said, daily Krishna moonu suttano result vara varaikum adi pradakshina pandra mari pannu appadina. Result varadhukku rendu maasam mela aiduthu. So that was my initial association with Nandalala. அப்பதான் பாலு மாமா, சரஸ்வதி மாமி, அப்புறம் கண்ணப்ப மாமா, ஆல் அப்பதான் பழைய எல்லாருக்கும் எனக்கு பழக்கம் ஆச்சு. பட் அப்போல இருந்து எவ்ரி எக்ஸாம், லைக் ரைட் த்ரூ மை MBBS, admission, coming to the UK, எல்லாம் அக்கா தான் லைக் மல்டிபிள் ஆப்ஸ்டிகல்ஸ் இது கிளியர் பண்ணி ஒவ்வொரு எக்ஸாமும் ஹோப்லெஸ் சுச்சுவேஷன் ஆர் ஈவன் லைக் டியூரிங் அ சர்ஜரி ஹோப்லெஸ் சுச்சுவேஷன் ரிட்ரீவ் பண்றது அக்கா தான். I'll give you a few examples. So MBBS ஒவ்வொரு எக்ஸாம் போதும் போய் அக்காட்ட சொன்னா அக்கா will give some ஏதோ இது பண்ணு அது பண்ணுன்னு சொல்லுவா. Just before my FRCS exam, which was like the part 1 exam, and I had given the exam. அப்போ வந்து the Prana Pratishtha in Lancaster temple happened. So அப்போ போயிருந்தேன் லாங்காஸ்டருக்கு, பட் ஐ couldn't speak a single word with அக்கா அந்த ஹோல் 3-4 days ட்ரிப்ல. ஐ கேம் பேக். அப்போ வந்து என்னடா அது ரிசல்ட் ஒன்றும் வரல, ரிசல்ட் வெயிட் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன், இப்போ பேச முடியலையான்னு நினைச்சுனே இருந்தேன். ரிசல்ட் வந்தது பாஸ். அப்பதான் மை குட் ஃப்ரெண்ட் விக்கையர் அங்கிருந்து ஃபோன் பண்ணார். ஃபோன் பண்ணி அக்கா இந்த மாதிரி சொன்னா, அவனோட பேசவே முடியல, அவன் பேர்ல இங்க இதுக்கு கொடு, இந்த பூஜைக்கு கொடு அப்படின்னு சொல்லியிருந்தான்னு. ஸோ ரியலைஸ்ட் நம்ம ஒன்றும் கேட்கணும்னே அவசியம் இல்லை அக்காட்ட, அக்கா வில் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்லி டேக் கேர் அண்ட் இட்ஸ் தி அன்வேவரிங் ஃபெய்த். ஒரு தடவை வந்து அக்கா ஒருத்தரங்கிட்ட சொன்னா, அக்கா அந்த மாதிரி சொல்லிட்டு இருந்தா இன்னொருத்தட்ட, நீங்க எவ்வளவு நம்பிக்கை வைக்கிறாளோ அப்பதான் என்னால ஹெல்ப் பண்ண முடியும்னு. அண்ட் இட் வாஸ் லைக் சார்ட் ஆஃப் a message to me. And few other instances I can go like I can share with all of you now. In the UK, at one point of time in the career, I had a problem with the salary I was getting paid. அப்போ வந்து அக்கா said, no, you have to fight it out. நீ லாயர் ஹையர் பண்ணி நீ இது பண்ணு அப்படின்னா. அதே டயத்துல அப்போ சொன்னா, நீ எல்லாம் பண்ணு, ஆனா கோர்ட்டுக்கெல்லாம் கேஸ் போகாது, இது வந்து செட்டில் ஆயிடும் அப்படின்னா. பட் இட் டுக் 2 years. அண்ட் அக்கா சொன்ன மாதிரியே like a week before the actual court case, the trust, they withdrew the case and everything was sorted amicably. So, and on another instance, when I had 2 exams clashing on the same date, 2 completely different exams, akka said, illa nee vitturadhu onnu agadu apdiye settle aidum appadina adhe mari aachu. So basically akka knows everything. And I can share a few funny instances where akka actually நீங்க நம்ம கேட்கணும் கூட அவசியம் இல்லை, நம்ம என்ன மனசுல நினைச்சுட்டு இருக்கோமோ அதுக்கு பதில் தானா வந்துடும். இது எப்படின்னா, 2010 ஆஃப்டர் ஐ ஃபினிஷ்ட் மை MBBS, ஒரு தடவை மெட்ராஸ்ல தர்ஷனத்துக்கு அக்காவை பார்க்கறதுக்கு இதுக்கு போயிருந்தோம், ஜெயமலருக்கு. அப்போ வந்து the word was அக்கா லீவிங் டு, நாளைக்கு எங்கேயோ ட்ரிப், ஊருக்குள்ள இருக்க மாட்டா, வெளியூருக்கு போறா அப்படின்னு. அப்புறம் நான் மனசுல நினைச்சிருந்தேன், என்னடா அது இப்போ அக்காவோட நிறைய பேர் போறா, இதுக்கு என்ன ஏதாவது பண்ணணுமா அக்காவோட திரும்பி போறதுக்குன்னு. நான் பார்த்தோன்னே ஃபர்ஸ்ட் டைம் கேட்டேன், நாளைக்கு நான் ஹைதராபாத் போறேன் கூட வரையா அப்படின்னா. ஸோ ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா நம்ம மனசுல நினைச்சா தானா வந்துடும். அண்ட் இந்த ஹைதராபாத் ட்ரிப் இட் இஸ் வெல், தேர் வாஸ் கப்புள் ஆஃப் இன்ஸ்டன்சஸ். ஒரு தடவை வந்து ரோட்ல நடந்து போயிட்டு இருக்கும்போது ஏதோ பார்த்து, இந்த சுண்டல், ஆஹா சுண்டல் வாங்கலாமா, நான் அக்காவோட போயிட்டா இருந்தேன், அக்காவே இந்த சுண்டல் வாங்கி எல்லாரும் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க அப்படின்ட்டா. ஸோ நம்ம வந்து கேட்கணும் ஒன்னும் அவசியம் இல்லை. அண்ட் டியூரிங் த சேம் ஹைதராபாத் ட்ரிப், there was a school function in Akka's school in the Yoga Saras Educational Academy. அப்போ வந்து நானா நினைச்சிருந்தேன், ஆஹா இங்க ஏதாவது இப்போ ஃபங்க்ஷனுக்கு போறோமே, பேச சொல்லுவாளோன்னு. அக்காவே மீட்டா கூப்பிட்டு, நீ பேசு, இந்த இதுல பேசுறியா அப்படின்ட்டா. ஸோ நம்ம ஒன்னும் பாதி விஷயம் வந்து தானாவே மெசேஜ் வந்துடும். அண்ட் அக்கா ஹாஸ் a unique way of delivering these sort of messages to say like, உன் மனசுல என்ன இருக்குன்னு எனக்கு தெரியும், எல்லாமே எனக்கு தெரியும், பிகாஸ் ஆஃப்டர் ஆல் ஷீ இஸ் எவ்ரிதிங். ஸோ அனதர் இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் வாஸ், ஒரு தடவை மதுரை டூர் வந்திருந்த போது ஆத்துக்கு சாப்பிட வரேன், பிரேக்ஃபாஸ்ட்டுக்கு வரேன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தா. அப்போ வந்து there used to be regular power shutdown and her house is located on the second floor of an apartment. It's an apartment. அப்போ வந்து கார்த்தால 8 மணிக்கு வந்து பவர் ஷட் டவுன், 8 to 10 எவ்ரி டே. ஸோ அக்கா வந்து 7:30க்குலாம் வரேன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தா. நெக்ஸ்ட் ரோட்ல தான் தங்கி இருந்தா, கெஸ்ட் ஹவுஸ்ல. பட் as it would be exactly 8:01 அக்காஸ் கார் வந்துட்டு இருந்தது, கரண்ட் போயிடுத்து. என்னடா பண்ண போறோன்னு வாட்ச்மேனை பிடிச்சு we went to the top, where all these lifts will have like an emergency pulley, so you can actually manually lift the அப்படியே அந்த எஸ்கலேட்டர் இது பண்ணிடலாம், லைக் லிஃப்ட வந்து you can bring it to the second floor, and we did it. இது ஏன் சொல்றேன்னா வந்து couple of years later, one day I was like, ஜெயமலருக்கு அக்கா தரிசனம் பண்ணலான்னு போய் ஆத்துக்கு போயிட்டு இருக்கும்போது அக்கா வெளில போயிட்டு இருந்தா. அப்பதான் இப்போ வந்து கார்ல ஏறின்னு இருக்க போறா. நீ வந்துட்டியா, வா கார் நீ ஏறிக்கோ கார்லன்ட்டா. என்னடா அது அப்படின்னு ஏறின்ட்டோம். அக்கா வாஸ் கோயிங் டு ராதாகிருஷ்ணன், இப்போ நந்தலாலா மெட்ராஸ்ல ட்ரஸ்டி மிஸ்டர் விஸ்வநாதன்ஸ் பிரதர், இன் ஹிஸ் ஹவுஸ் இன் மயிலாப்பூர் there was a painting exhibition மாதிரி நடந்தது. So this was the day prior to the exhibition. Akka wanted to go and inspect and give a few instructions. And incidentally, நாங்க அங்க போறோம், அவ வீட்டு வாசல்ல அவ எல்லாரும் வாசல்ல நின்று இருக்கா. அக்கா கரண்ட் இல்ல அப்படின்னா. Obviously எனக்கு தெரியும், due to prior experience, I knew current இல்லைன்னா கூட how to get the lift up to the second floor. So I immediately understood, அக்கா இதுக்கு தான் நம்மளை கூட்டிட்டு வந்திருக்கா. இந்த அவளுக்கு வந்து யாருக்கும் தெரியாது, அவள்லாம் வந்து இன்னைக்கு மீட்டிங் இருக்கு வச்சுக்க முடியாதுன்னு சொல்லியிருந்தா. நான் வந்து இல்ல and again we managed to have the akka managed to conduct the meeting. நான் வந்து with the help of that building's watchman managed to use the pulley and the lift second floor கொண்டு வந்துட்டோம். And multiple occasions அக்கா வந்து லைக் நம்மளா நினைச்சுட்டு இருப்போம், லைக் நம்ம வந்து அக்காவை எப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பார்த்தோம் வந்து ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கிறது வந்து பெரிய விஷயம் இல்லை. ஆனா அக்கா வந்து எங்கிட்டயே வந்து 2-3 இன்ஸ்டன்ஸ் சொல்லியிருக்கா, லைக் டு ப்ரூவ் நான் வந்து யாரையுமே மறக்கிறது இல்ல. சோ எங்கிட்ட ஒரு தரம் கேட்டா, உங்க அம்மா வந்து நான் எப்போ ஃபர்ஸ்ட் மீட் பண்ணேன்னு உனக்கு தெரியுமா அப்படின்னு கேட்டா. நான் வந்து இப்படி பார்த்துருந்தேன், தெரியாது, சிங்கப்பூர் ஏர்போர்ட்ல அப்படின்னு என்கிட்ட சொன்னா. அது வந்து இந்த மாதிரி வந்து இன்ஸ்டன்சஸ் வந்து மல்டிபிள் டைம்ஸ் வந்து அக்கா சொல்லியிருக்கா. லைக் டு சே, நீங்க வந்து ஒன்னும் கேட்கணும்னு அவசியம் இல்லை, எனக்கு வந்து எல்லாமே ஞாபகம் இருக்கும். அதே மாதிரி இன்னைக்கு என் பிரதர் பேசினா, லைக் earlier today, ophthalmologist from Chennai, like Madurai இன்னொரு experience during a temple where like she showed us like who she is in a and in the couple of days ago this particular like in the mari occasion I should thank Madhuri Shivganesh for giving me the opportunity. But the background is like I've just moved job. I was working in Manchester as a consultant, and I've just moved to another place called Dorset in UK. So last weekend தான் வந்து I was like நினைச்சிருந்தேன், உங்கள்கிட்ட நீங்க தான் இது பண்ணோம், இது ரைட் டிசிஷனா தப்பு டிசிஷனா எனக்கு தெரியல அப்படின்னு. பட் immediately almost like 2 days ago Madhuri called and said like, இந்த மாதிரி எனக்கு இது வந்திருக்கு, நீ இதுல வந்து பேசணும் அப்படின்னு. ஸோ இமீடியட்டா எனக்கு மெசேஜ் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா வந்தது. அக்கா இஸ் ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்லி சேயிங் லைக், நீ ஏன்டா கவலைப்படுற, உங்களதான் வந்து இவ்வளவு வருஷமா வந்து இது பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கிற மாதிரி, லைக் ஐ எம் தேர் அப்படின்னு. ஸோ the take home message எனக்கு, at least for me, is like we have to have that unwavering faith in Akka, and she's always there for us and she's always with us. She's always, and I can feel it in every surgery which I do when there is like a very difficult situation. அக்கா நினைச்சு வினை தீர்ப்பதிகம் சொன்னா அது ஆட்டோமேட்டிக்கா ஜஸ்ட் அதாவே சார்ட் அவுட் ஆயிடும். Like even any trouble, like problems in the department or in any other issues, it gets sorted. Thank you very much, and thank you one and all for giving me this opportunity, and special thanks to Madhuri Shivganesh.
Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. Saraswati Vidmahi Madhi Jwala Dhimagi Tanna Siva Prachodhyaya. I have been in Nandalala family for last 20 years plus. And in my experience, I think that she is always listening and watching to all of us at all the time. When I was thinking of some unresolved issues and thinking a way to resolve them and looking for a amicable solution, guess what? I get a phone call, and it is from Madhuri. And she calls me all that once in a while. And then she says, after the usual greetings, she said, Auntie, Akka asked me to call you. And I said, why did you call me? What is the reason? And then she keeps talking to me for 10-15 minutes. And then after talking to her, I feel so relieved and so light and uplifted with all my things. And I'm really thankful to Madhuri for being there for me as always. And our friendship goes way beyond, and I'm very happy to be part of the Nandalala family. In another time, when it was, like when I visited Akka I used to make Mohatakam for Chankadara Chaturthi in the first few years. And I suggested Madhuri, and she said, okay, it is okay for you to make the Mohatak. So in one instance, Madhuri introduced me to Akka, telling this is the auntie who makes Mohatak. And after talking to Akka for some time and discussing the topics, Akka told me, Lord Ganesha is with you, and you continue to make the Mohatak for every month for Shankara Chaturthi, and all your obstacles will be resolved, and you will have a progress in life. So since that time, I have been making Mohatak every month, and then I give it to Nandalala, or I just do it for home and offer it to Lord Ganesha. And without obstacles, all my issues have been resolved successfully. And once what happened, my daughter's marriage was fixed, and I was just thinking that Akka likes ribbon pakoda. So I used to make a lot of ribbon pakoda for Akka and give it to her whenever she is here. So at one instance, when my daughter's marriage was fixed, I just thought maybe I should give some ribbon pakoda to Akka. But Akka is in India and I'm in New Jersey, so I don't know how to give. So I just passed on the thought to Madhuri, telling, hey, I was thinking about this and I don't know how to make it happen. And Madhuri immediately said, oh, auntie, Akka is coming next week to Rochester. So there, my happiness no bound. I just made a lot of ribbon pakoda and gave it to Madhuri to take it to Akka to Rochester. So where there is a sincere wish, all your wishes come true and your prayers are answered. At another time, when my daughter was expecting, I need somebody to sit next to her. And I didn't have anybody in the presence. So Anandi auntie said, I know a Nandaji who can be present there. So she introduced to me one good Nandaji, and then she came all the way from New York. And then we received her in the train, and she came home. And as soon as she stepped into the house, she gave me Akka's picture. And there my happiness knew no bound. I thought Akka has arrived and everything is going to be fine. So though my things are all very small, but it gives me an intense pleasure to share with one and all, to know that if you are sincerely pray and faithfully wish, all your wishes will come true, and then Lord will answer to all your prayers. And one last thing is, when we visited last in Madhuri's house, I didn't have anything to ask Akka as to what to say, because I know she knows everything. So I told her that I wish to be of seva to Nandalala, and then I would like to be devoted my services and be a good devotee to you. And then Akka said, you help Madhuri in any way you can. Madhuri can use all the help she can get to make the Nandalala things work, function properly, because she needs help, and all your support is all requested. So I hope and I wish and I continue to serve Madhuri and Nandalala and be of service to Nandalala, and extend my sincere thanks to Nandalala family who has been there for me as always. And Jai Nandalala and Madhyoli Charan. And Madhyoli Vitvahe Atma Balaya Dimigi Tanna Lakshmi Prachodayat.
Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. I'm Urmila Nagwekar. I have been with Nandalala or been associated with Nandalala, not very, not very intimately. And for a long, long time, I just knew about her as about Amma as a divine person, but not really involved in it. So before I go and tell you my experiences, I just want to thank Madhuri for giving us this platform. It's of course her devotion to Amma that has allowed us this platform to share her Leelas. And I do want to thank Amma for allowing us to hear about her Leelas, because one can never get tired of them. Isn't that right? So I have experienced enough Leelas, just like all the Nandalalas spoke since the morning, and it's been a real pleasure. Revs up your spirit when you hear about all these, about her Leelas. But today there's a very different thing that I want to share. All along in 2019, I want to let you know, in 2019, actually, I got to become aware of her presence in my life. She has been in my life all throughout, but not as that in the human form. So I was not used to her in the human form. But in 2019 was when I really had to ask her. An incident triggered the fact that, hey, she must be my guru, because till then I was pining for a guru, and my mother had a guru, and everybody seemed to have a guru. And, I was doing everything trying to go here and then get a guru, and I wouldn't get any. So she was my guru. Finally, a classmate of mine said, no, you have to go here. This person's coming to the US. You need to go and check this out. He has been, that was my classmate's guru. And he said, you need to go there. And I was like, this seems a little strange that I feel like I need to ask Amma. Till then, it was just Amma, and I would pray very infrequently to her, only when I had trouble, because I knew my family knew her. So when he said that, I finally posed the question to Amma. I said, are you my guru? And if so, can you help me know you? I don't know you. I met her only twice, and you won't believe. The first time I met her, of course, in her human form, she was in Houston. She was operated, and yet she gave my husband and I, we had just been married, and she gave us the audience. And I just called. I thought I was going with the fruits and the flowers because my mother wanted me to go. I thought she was her guru. I didn't know who she was. I didn't know she was associated with me at all. So I go in there. It was if I even recollect, it's a horrible feeling now, but I just, she was sitting there in spite of the surgery. She gave us the audience without even asking anything. She, both my husband and I, we, prostrated in front of her. And the thought when I was going to her, to meet her was, Amma, you chose my husband, all right? Because there was a huge thing. I was not getting married. I didn't want to get married. And my mother was I think she was working with Amma on the back end. So I didn't know her, but, through my mother, she kept herself on my horizon. Look at the humility, right? Such a powerful goddess, and yet she gives us all the importance. But anyway, so when we went there, I gave her the fruits and the flowers. I didn't know what to speak. I, in fact, went veered towards the couple that was hosting her at the medical center. And I happily went into the kitchen with the lady, and I was talking about her kids, and Amma was sitting there all by herself. That was my kind of, I didn't know her. I didn't, it was strange. I felt very uncomfortable in front of her. So that was my first visit. My second time I ever met her, yes, I did sit with her. Even then, that there was a home and she got us, my sister and myself. My sister was very close to her. So she got my sister and myself in the room, and she wanted to talk to us. And even then, as in the human form, I couldn't relate to her at all. So, fast forward now in 2019, when she shows me all the various times she was in my life, it was a huge, huge discovery for me. It was a very emotional discovery. And that's where the love really started. And if in Amma's own words, right, to understand her divine self, you saw, yeah, you all of us have heard all the leelas, but to really understand the grandeur and infinitude of who she is, I think love and love alone can help us understand. So that's when my journey started in 2019, the journey going inwards into your soul. And at that stage, yeah, I've progressed a lot, but I do need to acknowledge the people that brought me up till there, and then the ones who have taken me further. It's not just her, because she uses other people as mediums. So until 2019, it was my mother, my sister-in-law, my sister, through whom she kept herself on my horizon. And in 2020, actually, end of 2019 was when I realized who she was. And by 2020, she had introduced me to Madhuri. So again, at different stages of your life, she brings in different people so that you can progress. And, we've known, I mean, after hearing all her leelas, now we know her so intimately, but what is she as a guru, right? As a spiritual guru, we have seen, or rather, Madhuri has shared her experiences of surrendering to her, and that is the book that triggered my, interest in trying to use Amma as my guru, because here she was a divine person. What would she be as a guru? And believe me, it's the best thing I've ever done. There is so many things that you have to go through when you actually start that journey inward. It's almost like you have to unlearn what you have learned. You have picked up all the habits, conceived all these notions from everybody else, right, around you, from the environment around you. But when you really take a realized soul as your guru, you start to realize you have to absolutely throw everything out. She is so flexible, so flexible. You won't believe it. There is nothing that she won't take in. I mean, I have had so many missteps. I'm not even religious. So sometimes I wonder, what is it in me that she still sticks with me? But that is who she is, that unconditional love, the selflessness, the pure and strong love that you feel when you go inwards. My journey started almost 3 years ago. I'm into it. She's taught me a lot. Some of the things that you have to give up, attachment. So the very first thing I want to let you know is the ego, right? Ego is the one that really can hamper your progress. And ego is actually, many of us think it's just arrogance, but it's a spectrum of emotions, right? From fear to anger to misgivings to misunderstandings to, and on the far end, it's arrogance. And it was beautiful lessons that I learned from her. She works one-on-one with you, really. She doesn't tire. You can take as long as you want. She customizes that spiritual path as per your mental readiness. Imagine that. I mean, where would we get a guru like that? I mean, it's full love. There's nothing else. There is no judgment at all of who you are. No discrimination, that you don't know this or you don't know that. She has the patience to teach me what to do. If she wants me to do any religious rite, she's the one who explains it. I mean, there was a situation wherein I had a Ganpati lamp, a brass lamp, and the Ganpati, I was not facing that Ganpati towards her. I was facing him outward, and the lamp wouldn't lit. Many a times it would go away, and I was like, Amma, what's happening? What's happening? And then one day she gave me the idea, turn it around. And it started. So simple things like that. I'm so ignorant. We think we're intellectuals, but in the spiritual journey, I wasn't. So on the ego side, the big thing she taught me was, it's a intellect and ego go together, and intellect is basically artificial intelligence. Literally, you are getting all the intelligence from your senses, and you're building that database of intellect. But what she taught me was your senses are only taking 20% of the truth. So only your soul can see, your intuition can see the 100%. So why are you reacting? It's so simple, right? But I had never known this stuff, and it's hard to put it into practice. You're so used to reacting. But when she said that, it made such a lot of sense. It's like, oh, it's true. Why am I doing it? So that's how she helps me with the ego. And believe me, the ego never goes away. It shoots up somewhere here, somewhere there. But that's my journey on the ego. On the detachment, this was very interesting. When I started, I had this experiences with her. A small bird would come, and it would literally have broken wings. And it was a very traumatic experience for me, seeing it with broken wings. And you're starting to think, how is this bird going to manage? How is its life going to be? Your mind rushes to all those future things, which is what we literally do. We either spend our time in the past or in the future, right? Never in the present moment. But every time, and this happened more than once, and every time I would take the bird, give it water, give it sugar, trying to get it, energize it. And the only thing that would calm me is telling the bird that Amma is going to take care of you. I'm going to pray for you. Fast forward now to 2023, and I had an issue. No matter how much you learn about this, it's difficult when you have to put it into practice. I had a case in my own family where my father was very, very sick. I mean, he wasn't even supposed to get out of the hospital. So, no matter how much you do, there is that sense, right? At times, there's that pull. And she came back and reminded me, she said, you were okay when that bird had the problem. You told the bird that I would take care of the bird. I'm giving you the interpretation, but she doesn't speak in the full thing. It's only words that come through. But, so why are you discriminating now? That's also another soul. Don't you think I can take care of that soul? That is how she held on to me. She made sure that I wouldn't get into this thing of being afraid, being upset. She does not allow you to do that at all. I've seen that over and over. There is no way I can get upset. There is no way I can get angry. Yes, she teaches me that my ego has come up and why I shouldn't do it. But there is no way I can have misgivings. Even before I can have any misgivings now, she's right there in front of me. And that is what I'm saying. We have all gone to her with problems for trials and tribulations, but this kind of a thing where you actually go to her and you learn how to lead your life is so much more efficient. 3 years into it, I am not at all bothered about the ups and downs of life. It's so much now on her. I don't do anything without thinking about her. She's put me selflessness. She's put me to do things in my career. I'd never even ever thought of it. That's one thing people have to realize. Even your careers, you think, I want to do this, I want to do that. She actually masterminded my career all the way. She knew exactly what I had to do. And finally, when I gave up, because I was becoming an average Jane, whatever you want to say, I gave up and I said, take it. I don't want it anymore. She now has put me on such a high pedestal. I write papers. I didn't even know of that topic 3 years ago. Now I'm writing papers on it. She publishes. She makes sure it gets published in those papers get published. And on the back end, this is so good that I am not even aware of it. And that is what is the best thing. When you give it completely to her, she knows how to get you to the peak of your ability. That is what I'm telling you. This is how I'm seeing selflessness. Even in that, There is no attachment. I know that she can pull me out anytime. So with that awareness, I'm so able to pull people out. It's a global team. We work, we research, but I'm so able to pull people up, and really help them contribute their talent, because I don't have the what's in it for me anymore. There's no attachment. There's, whether no attachment to outcomes at all. You just let it go. And that's what I feel at times, that her teachings, I can go on, and I know I have to stop now, but helping others, the big thought that she has given me is, every moment of your life is my gift to you. What you do with that moment is your gift to me. Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala.
Nandalala, Madhyoli Chart. I have no words to say starting this because Akavati has been so close to me. But even like when I was a child, like she has always been there for me, and she has always been there for my important parts of her life. She was not like a like guru or something to me. Like she is, but she was more of a like a friend, a nice, like calming friend, like a real super nice person to me. Um one thing that happened was that we used to play a coin game. I'd keep a coin in one hand, and then I'd keep on, and I'd switch it in my behind my back, and then I'd show it right here, and I'd ask her which hand has the coin in it, and then they'd be like, then Akabati would always choose for like the first like 5 rounds. She would always choose the correct one. Then I got so upset. I was like, how is this happening? I'm so good at this game. Like I have so much strategy, yet I keep on losing. Again, I did that again. Of course, she's Ambal, right? So of course she knows which hand it's gonna be in. But that time I didn't realize it because I was super young. But again, I kept on playing and playing, and I kept on losing. And then at one point, Akavati could see that I was not so happy. So the next time I did it, she purposely picked the wrong one, the wrong hand, like 20 times in a row, and I felt like so happy. But in reality, she was just trying to make me happy. But it's like super. It just shows how like considerate she was to my feelings. Um, Another thing that happened was when I went to India, Party like always makes like korkates to give it to Akabati. And then me and Amma went to her house that time. And every time I go to her house, she'd always give me something. So like it could even be juice or whatever. She would always give me something. So what happened is that like on that day when I went to her house, when Party gave the corcates, she said, "Oh, come on, let's go eat some corcates." And then so coincidentally, Party made my favorite corcate, which is salted corcate, and Party made a whole lot of corcates. But what happened was that like when she was like they gave the corcates, I kept on eating all the salted corcates, and Akavati instead of like an Akavati, like she was just watching and she was just smiling, like she was just smiling, that smile, like she just when something's happening, she just smiles, like, and she, because it's like she knows, so it's like she's like a playful smile. So continuing back, I kept on eating all the corcates, and like basically all the corcates are done, and all the corcates were done, and then Amma and Party were like, how is he eating all the corcates? But then Akavati was like just smiling again and said that, and was like, um, um, and then said that like all kids should have eat all first and all that stuff. And also she was like, and that too I was like super young, and that too Akavati was just smiling. She had like nothing. It was like she really cared for me as well. And then my Puna was 2017 December. and then that was like a really special time for me. But Akabati back then was like not doing so great. She was not feeling very well, but but she still came to my puno. But I still came to my puno. Like it was like hurt that she was like feeling hurt a lot, but she still came to my puno, and she still was there, even though she was not in the greatest condition. She still came, and I feel like very grateful for that. But one incident that happened was just before my puno, I went there. I went to the Akabati's house, and then me and Akabati, she gave me a lingam. She gave me her lingam, and then she was like, "You keep it. You have to do Rudram every Monday." And then I was like, "Okay." But coincidentally, both of us had the matching outfit. It was like a green. I had green on. She also had green on, like the background, like my virtual background. Well, it's like sort of green, but she had an actual green. But she like also had green on, so we both took a picture together, and she also and she was just smiling the whole time. And then like I felt so happy because like she gave me a lingam and all that stuff, and even though she was so sick, she still like was there for me, and I feel really grateful for that. Another thing is that when I was really little as well, I would always make up stories to stay at home. Stay at home, like I'd be like, "Oh my God, my stomach's hurting, Amma," so I could stay home and be in Akavati. And Amma didn't really know whether I was lying or not. So one time she asked Akavati, and then when she asked Akavati just nodded like no, and then Amma was like Amma said, "Okay, Dave, you gotta go to school now," and then I was caught, right? But then Akavati came to me and said that don't worry, I'll be with you when you go to school. And that like really warmed my heart, because even though Akavati knew that I was making up stories, she still understood that I wanted to be with her, so she said, "I will be with you when you go there." Another thing was that whenever she was home at our house, I'd always massage her feet. And then when I massage her feet, she would like I would like love to massage her feet every time, and she would also love me massaging her feet as well. So every night I would go to her room and massage her feet, and then she'd be like so happy because I consistently came. And that too, also when I went to school, right? Like since I was not there, I would always massage my feet and all that stuff. So Akabati one time I was like, "Where's Dave? I'm missing." It's like she missed me a lot. She's like, "Where is Dave? When will he come back? How much time left?" She kept on asking Amma these questions. So you could really tell that Akabati was really missing me. But I was also missing her too. So we both cared for each other a lot. Another thing was that when I was like super little, she I would my every child back then, like every child loves pizza, right? That's like their favorite food, right? So I would go on to ask her, "What's your favorite food?" And she said pizza, and I was like, wow. And then because she knew that I like pizza, so she said pizza to make me feel so happy, and I really was. And then like that just shows like her nature, right? She's just like so caring, she's so understanding, she understands what people feel, and she wants to make that person happy. And I'm like so grateful for that. Like she always understands our feelings. Another thing is that I always, like as I said, no, I love snacks. So Hakawati would send snacks from other people to us, and I'd be like, "Yes, snacks!" And then like she would send all these snacks through other people, like because we're in US, and I would be like so happy to receive these snacks. It'd be like a variety of laddus to whatever, laddus to like mixtures to like pakora, murukku, and all these things, and I'd be like, love it. And then Akavati would understand that. She'd be Akavati just knew my reaction to those things, then she'd keep on sending it for us. That made me super happy. all these things said, she's always in my heart, and I'm very grateful to be to know her, to be with her, to have seen her, to have experienced all these things with her. And I truly don't know what I would have done without Akabati in my life. Janandalala.
Nimi auntie, you're next.
Sorry for the delay. Jai Nandalala, Namaskaram to Atte. I've always called her Atte throughout my life. And I'm very fortunate that I could spend some time with her, and I have known her for a long time. And I'm blessed that she could come and stay with us and bless us throughout the years. Like from 97 on, she's been coming and staying with us and blessing us. And those memorable moments I can never forget. And I think it's because she also wished to give me those memories. It's only with her blessing that I could get the opportunity to be with her. And one incident that I really, really remember is when my son was looking for apartments. He had 6-month-old girl. His first child was born at that time, and they were looking to move. And at that time, I was visiting him, and he told me that he was looking for apartments because they were going to raise his rent, and he was not happy about that, so he wanted to move out. And he took me with him to see an apartment. I went with him. I saw the apartment. The apartment itself was big, nice, spacious, but the approach to the apartment was not very appealing. And also, she had to take the laundry to the basement because they didn't have washer dryer in the apartment, and she had to take it downstairs. And parking was 3 blocks down from where they lived. And with all these inconveniences, I was like, and my son was traveling most of the time. So she was left alone with the child a lot of times. And also, he came home late, even when he was in town. He was always late coming home. So, thinking about all this, I was saying that he should look for another place because she can't be doing taking the laundry downstairs every time. Since with the child, there's so much laundry to be done all the time. So, it's inconvenient for her. Thinking about that, I was just telling my son, but then he said, "No, Ma, I don't have any time. I have to move out next month. So let me go ahead and take this apartment." With that being said, I said, okay. And I didn't want to argue with him because he's the one facing that problem. So I just kept quiet. I came home, I sat down, and I just prayed to her. I said, if this is what it is, let it be. If not, you have to help them. And I was like, for a few minutes, I didn't even say anything to anybody. I was just sitting there and I was just praying to her. And I said, there's so much of, this apartment is not going to be very convenient for them. But if this is what it is, let it be. And then he went ahead and applied for the apartment. Then they told him that they'll give him a reply in 2 days. In a couple of days, he called me and he said, "Amma, I don't know. They have not yet replied to me. I'm still waiting." But in the meantime, I'm going to be looking for other apartments because my lease is coming up. Saying this, just within a week or so, he found an apartment, which was a 3-bedroom apartment with a backyard, with parking right in front of his house. And for the same rent that he was going to pay in the other place. So I was so happy. I thanked her. To this day, I thank her for that because to find an apartment like that in Brooklyn is not a joke, because it was just on the first floor, parking right in front of his house, and a backyard for the child to go and play. It was like really, she just blessed him. And I think of that as a miracle to this day. And I also told him, see, this is what happened. And he was also like amazed about that. Another incident I remember was like when he was in high school. We were living in California at that time, and there was a leakage from one of the chevrons over there. And they had asked for everyone to stay indoors. And at that time, Ate was staying with us. So we usually just take a short walk around the block and come. So around 11:30 or 12. And since she was at home, we were not having the TV on, so I didn't know anything about this. But around 11:15, my son calls me from school and he said, Amma, did you hear the news? I said, no. He said, don't take Atte for a walk today, because we have all been instructed to stay indoors, close all the doors and windows and stay inside. And then after talking to him, I just put the phone down, and she came, and she was standing behind me. She came and asked me what it was. And when I told her the news, she said, we always think about him and worry about him, and look at him. He's worried about us, and he's calling us to tell us not to go out. So that was really like, it showed that how she appreciated anyone saying anything. Even though it was a child, she still appreciated his concern for us. And another incident was when we were in India. I was just walking with her in Mambalam, and the street vendors were there selling mangoes. And as soon as I looked at that mango cut and put in Kate, I saw the mango and I felt like having it. But every time we go from here, everyone tells us, oh, don't take anything raw, no fruits, no raw vegetables, anything cooked is okay, but don't take anything cold and this and that. So I'm always like trying to avoid all that. But when I was walking with her, I just told her, I love mangoes, but I can't eat because of this. So immediately she bought that mango, and she took the salt and pepper that they had. She came home, she washed it. She sprinkled all that on the mango, and she gave it to me, and she said, oh, you can sit and eat now. So that, to this day, I can never forget that, because she wanted to, satisfy my, I don't know what to say, because I was so amazed and shocked at the way she came home and immediately washed and gave it to me and made me sit and eat that. To this day, I can never forget that one incident. And I was fortunate enough to travel with her quite a bit. And I really thank her for all the experiences she gave me. Last but not the least, I would like to thank Madhuri and all the other volunteers who have worked for this and gave us this in making this event, so we can hear all the experiences that we all have had being with her. And thank you, Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. Thank you, Ma. Thank you.
Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. Our family was introduced to Sri Amma through my maternal grandfather, G. Krishnamurthy. He was already a very big and deep and great, sincere devotee of Ambal. He would do puja every day. And after he heard about Sri Amma from the Mahaperiva of Kanchi, his intensity and devotion just became manifold. And since then, he never looked back, and he made every effort to meet her and bring her home. And she has come to our house several times. And when I got introduced to her, I was probably like 13 or 14. And since then, to this day, I have always asked Ambal for anything and everything that I want. And to this day, she has kept her promise and she has been taking care of us. So when she first came, all of us, GK was basically a very organized person, my grandfather, and he was very punctual, very disciplined. He had tremendous self-discipline, and he expected the same from all his grandkids and children as well. And when she was about to come, needless to say, there was every effort to make sure everything was organized and went everything, nothing was left to chance. Every single detail was planned. He even told us where to stand, how to offer the flowers. When she's speaking to us, how far we should stand from her, and make her comfortable in every way. And when she came, it was a very happy occasion. Everybody was very happy to talk to her. But my youngest sister, Saundarya, got the lion's share of the time with Ambal, because Ambal found her very cute and sweet. And the way she talked like a parrot, she was barely, 4 or 5. And she talked very nicely with Ambal. And I don't remember all the conversation that happened between them, but it was very cute. That's what I remember. And one thing that Ambal told in that gathering, which I'll never forget, is she looked at all of us and said, "Unga ellariyum na paathukkaren," which translates to, "I'll take care of all of you." And to this day, that is true. And I'm very, very grateful for that. Even after her samadhi, she is there for us. And Madhuri, thank you for being instrumental in that. And once when GK invited her on a different occasion, he was standing there with the flowers in his hand to put on her feet. And when she walked in, this was near the gate of the house. It was outside. And when he was offering the flowers, something happened and he just tripped and fell on his back. And he hit his head against a concrete slab. And it was too much to just see, because he was in his late 60s, I think, back then. And it was very hard to see him fall like that while doing this to Ambal. And needless to say, all of us were very frantic and we wanted to just lift him and help. And my father, he was wearing a panchakacham, which is the traditional dhoti, and he just ran out of the house a few blocks away to get the doctor from there. And all of us were going in different directions to help GK. And between all of this, obviously, I was very shocked, and I started crying uncontrollably. And it was a miracle that Ambal, I don't know if, yes, it was definitely Ambal's presence, because in a few minutes after the doctor came and, addressed his wound and everything, bandaged it, and GK was feeling fine. He was happy. He was all smiles. There was no injury to his head or no concussions, nothing. He was very happy, as though nothing happened. It was very normal. And still, I wouldn't stop crying. The shock of that was just too much for me, I guess. And in fact, I was leaving for a job interview, I think, soon after that. So everything was just getting to me. And at that time, Ambal looked at me and said, when everybody was like, "Vidya, why are you crying?" They looked at me and said, "Why are you crying? Arada, stop. Everything is fine. He's okay." So, and Ambal just looked at me and said, "Iva oru nalla kolanda." That I'll never forget. It translates to, she's a good child. So to this day, I remember that, and I'm trying to live up to that. And one incident I'll never forget, one happy occasion was me and my sister Sujata, both of us went to Chennai to be in Ambal's house. We stayed there for a couple of days and we spent some quality time with her. She would tell us some good things, some good advice, even a couple stories. We spent time with her mother, Pati, and I also cooked for her. That was a big privilege that I'll always cherish. So that was very nice. And I don't remember what all things I made there, but one thing I made was vendeka curry, the okra sabji. And I remember Ambal having that and saying it was good. So I was not into cooking back then. I was still learning from my mom. So this was a big deal for me. And yeah, since then, for anything and everything, we've been asking Ambal for all any small or big event, we would always go to her for advice. And even after I got married, I remember when I visited Ambal, she gave me a couple gifts. One was a bronze cow and a calf. She put that in a Ziploc cover with badam almonds in it, and she gave it to me and said, keep this in your puja room and you will prosper and your house will prosper. So to this day, I have that here. And whenever I look at it, I think of Ambal. So thank you, Amma. And also she gave me two beautiful wall hangings that I put in my house. Whenever I move, I make sure I put that first in the house before we go in. So it is still there every day when I'm sitting at the dining table and having dinner, I look at it and think of her. So thank you. And also, I'll never forget the numerous number of times my sister Sujata and I, when we were looking for a bridegroom for my youngest sister Saundarya, we have written so many emails to Prasanna ji with so many proposals and so many alliances of boys. And we got advice from Amma for every single one. So she guided the way for us. And even the person that she's married to today is also a blessing from Ambal. So thank you, Ma. Thank you for everything. And I'm sure there are so many memories that I'll think of after this, but this is all I could come up with today. So thank you for this opportunity. Jai Nandalala, Madhyoli Sharanam.
Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. Talking about Amma. I have known Amma from 1993. And I used to be in India then. And I used to go for work. And it was a ritual, like every day I will go to her house and do namaskaram in the puja room and go for work. One day, she looked at me. It was morning around 7:45, 8. She said, I had gone to her house and she said, Sabita, velaki poriya? I said, yes, Amma. She told me, today, why don't you stay back? So I said, okay, Amma. And I stayed back. And the whole day, I didn't ask her for what, why, nothing. I just stayed back. And then all devotees were coming. She said, why don't you give them kumkum? So I gave them all the kumkum and everything. Then afternoon, she said, have lunch with me. So I had lunch with her. And she said, okay, I'll go take rest. Why don't you read a book? She said. I said, read a book? Yes. And she came and gave me a very beautiful book. This is Pranamayam, written by R.L. Narayanan. And those days, yes, I took Amma as my guru, but more than a guru, I found her very friendly and like a mother to me. And I would ask her for some advice and things like that. But the divinity in her, I knew, but it didn't sink into me at all. She gave this book to me and said, read it. I did not read it. On that day afternoon, I was the whole day sitting with her. I mean, she had gone afternoon, she was sleeping, and then I sat through in the afternoon without reading the book. Then evening, there were devotees coming in, people came, and I was there till 9 o'clock in the night, and then I went back. And the next, when I was going back, she said, come back tomorrow, and I want you to read the book. And I didn't realize why she's insisting me to read the book so much. And I didn't know what the book was. And it didn't strike to me that I should read it. And I didn't show much interest. The next day I came to her. I did not read in the night. When I went back, I did not read the book. Second day, when I came, as usual, to do namaskaram in the puja room, she said, Innikyum, can you stay back? I said, okay, Amma. And I stayed back. And then she was generally talking to me and everything. And she said, I told you 2 days to read the book. Have you read the book? I said, Illamma na padikala. Then she said, okay. So what I did is that day night, I was wondering why she's telling me to read the book, read the book. So when I read the book that night, I really felt the divinity in her and how well she has expressed to me to read the book. And from then on, like, it only stuck me then. Till then, I used to think, yeah, she's a good friend of mine. Like, I can talk to her on any topic, and I will be like more of a mother to me. I've never gone to a house and come back without eating. Like every time I go, she'll serve me food and she'll say, come and sit with me on the table. And I've had food with her. So, I used to, though she's taken the human form, like I didn't feel the divinity in her until I read the book. Yes, I've seen many times in many occasions, but after I read the book, oh my God, I said, oh, from then on, she put it in a very nice, subtle way to me by saying that read the book, then you will know who I am. Like, so it was very well said. That is one incident. And then it was in 2017, I had a very, very rare, autoimmune disease. And they could not find out the reason. And they were trying to, treat me with different kinds of medication, and nothing was going fine. So I had gone to India to see, I had gone to India, and that time she said, I went and told her, Akka, I have this, all the problems I explained to her. She said, go to the kitchen and ask them to give the yogurt which I have had, like it was that cup yogurts. So I said, Akka, the yogurt, what you ate? She said, yes, go and tell them what I ate to give the remaining. I've left some yogurt. Please go have that yogurt. And after it didn't strike me, but I went, I had the yogurt, came back to US. And then, again, I went through all the medical thing and all. To my surprise, from then, I do not have that disease at all so far. And there is no medication so far for that disease. And I don't know, I think the yogurt has made the miracle. And I don't have it at all so far. And another incident I can tell is in 2017, I had bought the house and I had moved in New Jersey, and Akka had come then, and they had some puja going on. I participated in the puja, and I volunteered. So they asked me to stand in front of the entrance and, sell some books and things like that. So I was there. So I could not actually see the puja, what was going on, or I could not hear the talk, what was going on. But inside my mind, I always thought like I wanted, Akka to come to my new house and bless me. That was going on in my mind. And opposite to me, they had put a big picture of Akhilandeshwari and Akka. So I was praying to her saying that I want you to come home and bless me. And that particular time in 2017, she was not well. And, that function was over and I got back home, and she was leaving to India, in 2 days' time. The next day, Madhuri calls me around 8:45 in the night, and she says, Akka wants to come to your house tomorrow morning at 7:30. And I was so, I couldn't believe what I thought. The next moment she says she answers your prayers. And then she came home the next day, blessed my house. She had a meal with me. And there is, so many things. She spent about nearly an hour or so in my house, more than an hour, I think so. And that, I think that was her last trip to the US. And I'm so blessed that she has been with me throughout my life, and she continues to bless me. And I still remember I think in 2015 or 14, when she had come here, she was in Madhuri's house, and I had gone to Madhuri's house, and it was a Mother's Day, and everybody was taking blessings from her. And when my turn came, I went up to her and said, Akka, நான் எத்தனை ஜென்மம் எடுத்தாலும் உங்களோட அன்பு மகளா இருக்கணும்கான. Immediately she said, today is your lucky day and it will be. And till today, she's taking care and blessing me, and I have no words. I'm so blessed. In this birth, I had the opportunity to spend quality time with her, and I can always feel the presence of her in my house. I stay alone, and I feel that she's always there for me at any time, anywhere. So I can go on if I say. And once she told me, when I was in India, I was working then in India, and then one day she called me and she said, நீ என்ன பண்ற, நாளைக்கு இருந்து நந்தலாலா கோயிலுக்கு போய் காலையில 4:30க்கு they will open the doors, right? You have to go and sweep and mop the floor. And till today, I do not know the reason, but till I came to the US, I was doing that, and I think I am so blessed for doing that. I have no words to say. And always I had a very good relationship with Akka's mom, and I cherish it till today. Her mother was very special, and every time Akka has always sent snacks from me from India, has never failed to do that, and I miss that so much today. Okay, I wind up saying Nandalala and Madhyoli Charanam. Thank you so much.
Jai Nandalala, Madhyoli Sharanam. So today I have got this opportunity once again to talk about our Akka, Shri Ambal Madhyoli Saraswati Akka. So thank you, Nandalala in New Jersey, and thank you, Madhuri Akka, for giving us this opportunity once again. It is indeed a very big blessing to be, a part of this, because if this can happen only if Ambal wants it to. Just a thought of Ambal, or something that you share about Ambal with a friend or somebody itself is a blessing that only can happen if Ambal wishes to. So this, talking exclusively about your experience with Ambal, is indeed a big blessing. Thank you so much. My journey with Ambal is right from childhood, when our Tata GK introduced us to Ambal. As we were all told that this is Goddess Akilandeshwari, identified by Kanchi Periva. So we all had nothing else to look at. We completely surrendered. My mother was the first one who got initiated, and obviously we all took after her. So, and her name was R Saraswati, which was exactly my sister's name, and even the signature is very similar to my sister's, R Saraswati. So we had an instant connection with her, and I remember my young days. I got very close to her. Most of the darshans that we had, and the events where we used to go out with her. She loved children, so, and she used to pick me and say, dance adriya or party padriya and all that. So I was into dance and singing and all the arts. So I loved it. I loved all the attention, and I used to immediately jump at the opportunity and do it. So I've had very, very memorable things with Ambal. I've asked some very silly things like, teacher change pannungo, or in the class pudikala. It's as simple as that. And she used to do that for me as well. She used to fulfill all my wishes. So as a child, as a teenager, as a college going student, everything, at every point of time in my life, I've looked up to her. I've looked for her guidance. I've, asked her the most, insignificant of things, and she has patiently answered everything for me. So she has been a big, big part of my life. Actually, after knowing her, I think God, Bhagavan, Abdinale, Adu, Ambal da. So every time I used to pray before an exam or before, even to while waiting at the bus stand for my bus, I used to pray to Ambal to, get a bus quickly. So everything was about Ambal. And then at one point, so all this was when my life was all fun and happy and all that. But there was a point in my life where I had the biggest low point, and that's when real tests happened, where I really believe in Amba. So this was when my mom passed away, when I was at the age of 24. When I was 24, my mom passed away, and I realized that the biggest support of my life was no longer there. And I was very disappointed with Ambal at that point, because see, my relationship with Ambal was mostly like a mother, a friend. I felt I had all the right to, question her, show my anger, and, not talk to her. So I did that actually. I was very angry with her. I did not pray to her. I did not, really, because I used to always chant Madhyoli Padigam, always think about Ambal before going to bed and things. But I was so angry with her that at one point I did not do all of these things. Though I did not do it, she was always there in my mind. That I think nobody can, separate. But I was very angry. But slowly, she made me come out of that too. She gave me my time. She gave me my time, and then finally I made peace with it. And I actually came out of it. I myself couldn't believe it, but I made peace. Then I again went back to Nandalala. I again started going for darshans. It was a very short period of time that I stayed away, but what I'm trying to say is she is so forgiving. She understands. She totally understands. And she doesn't let you go that easily. If you are destined to be with her, you will be. So I again went back to her. I again started being an active part of everything. And she was back in my life. And then I met my husband. So when I met my husband and I told her about, back then we were just friends. So when I told her about him, she supported me. She said, go for it. He's the right one. So, and it is so true, because till this day, my husband is actually, when I met him and when I started my journey with him, I felt like I got back my mom. So I actually realized that I've never missed my mom after I met my husband. So he's actually taken care. He's taken that space, that spot for me. And till this day, he's taking care of me. So my Ambal knows it. She sent somebody. When she took away my mom, she actually sent my husband. So there you go. She takes care of you at the end of the day. So that is the biggest low high point for me. But I wanted to share this because I wanted to tell that everybody goes through problems and everybody has their highs and lows, but Ambal never leaves you. It may feel like she's not there and she's not helping you, but she definitely will be there, and she will take care of you at the end of the day, is what I personally experienced. And then from there on, it's been really a good journey so far. And after Ambal's blessing, with Ambal's blessings, we got married and everything. And then after, I think 2 or 3 years after our wedding, Shri Akka passed away. I mean, she left the mortal world. But after she passed away, I really felt very scared. I was wondering, who will I look up to for everything? Because until that point of in my life, everything was about her, and every small decision was about asking her. So I was a little worried. But then she was there. And then I met Madhuri Akka. So now I have no fear, because I have a very strong feeling that Ambal is still around. And through Madhuri Akka, Madhuri Akka is actually my friend, my guide, the person I look up to now for everything. So I'm so grateful to Ambal that she has come back again in my life. Again, she has not left me. And we are, I don't think we can ever be separated. Some of my favorite cherished gifts from Ambal are The first gift she gave me was a mirror. And I'm a dancer and I love looking at myself in the mirror and things like that. I don't know how she knew it. When I was probably around 8 or 9, she gave me a mirror and she said, "This is for you." So her gifts are also so personal and she knows us so well. I remember she gifted me a sari and some jewelry for my arangetram. That was so special. And for my wedding, she gave me another beautiful sari. So Amba knows what you like, what you need, what you want, everything. She will take care of you, is what I can say. So just trust in her and she will take care of everything in life. Thank you once again to Nandalala, New Jersey, and Madhuri Akka for giving me this opportunity. I can go on hours about Ambar, but I'm grateful for this opportunity. Thank you. Madhyodi Sharanam, Jai Nandalala.
Madhyoli Charanam, Jai Nandalala. My heartfelt gratitude to Sri Amma for bringing us all together today, collectively. And my gratitude to Madhuri for giving me an opportunity to speak. And most of all, I would like to thank all of you who have shared your very personal experiences with Ambar, with all of us. For that, I am very grateful. I always find that talking about Amma, I don't know where to begin and I don't know where to end, but we have a time constraint of 10 minutes. My mind goes back to about, I would say about 28 years ago. This is in the mid-90s, when I had the first darshan of Amba. And I remember I graduated from JIPMA Pondicherry. I did my undergraduation and post-graduation there. And then I went to the UK and then I came to the US. And one of the trips to India, we were in Chennai, Madras. And I happened to talk to my close friend. He was a year my junior, who was Dr. Balachandra was at that time the chief of cardiology. And he told me that they had several patients who needed a specialized procedure called an ablation, where we snake catheters into the heart. And we put in tiny burns to interrupt circuits that cause rapid heartbeat. And these patients can become, lose consciousness very easily. So if we can fix that, then it's like, they're getting a new lease of life. And that time there were very, very few centers in India that was actually doing it. So I said, sure. I had a day and a half. So I said I would come over. And then I got a call late at night from a certain doctor who was working in the railway hospital. We just call him Dr. S. He said, "Can I come and watch you do the procedures?" And I said, "Sure, you're welcome." So I told him that I was going to start very early the next morning and go to Pondicherry. So I picked him up on the way from Adyar. And he was telling me about his job. He was working at railway hospital, and he's telling me about everything except, he talked in very general terms. Very, very, very smart physician, very, very expressive. So my brother had told me, my brother Sashiraman and Shamla, in fact, I'm known as Shashiraman's brother. So Sashiraman had told me that, why don't you have Akka's darshan while in Chennai? But then Akka was not in Chennai. She was in Pondicherry. So he said, why don't you go early in the morning and take your chance? So I said, take my chance. I mean, I didn't want to go and disturb somebody very early in the morning. He said, well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. So we had the address. We stopped by there at 7 something. And the first thing that the watchman asked us was, does Akka know that you're coming? So, I kind of thought about that before answering. She knows everything, but I said, no, we have not announced that we are going to come. So he said, okay, he looked at us, and I think he was pretty used to people showing up at all odd times. So he went and spoke to somebody who spoke to Akka, and he said, okay, go wait in the veranda. So we waited there, and I've never had Akka's darshan before. And Akka came out, and she was wearing a house coat, and she gave a big smile. And so we introduced ourselves, and then she looked at me. I said, we plan to do procedures at ablation procedures at JIPMA, and I said, I seek your guidance and blessings. And she turned to Dr. S and said, and he said, I'm Dr. S and I work in Railway Hospital. Then she gave a very sweet smile and asked him, family? And at once he kind of, he was a little hesitant. He kind of hesitated. Then he said, no, I live with my father. Then she said, okay, you see, I'm asking because we need doctors to serve at the elderly people's homes. So she said, she asked somebody to bring a piece of paper and a pen and asked him to give his address, and so that he can, he'll have an opportunity to volunteer. So then she turned to me and said, what time are you starting the procedures? And I just gave an answer, casually. I said, this morning. And she looked at me seriously and said, what time? She's very precise. So I said 9:15. It was already 8:45. She said, okay. Then we did namaskaram. She gave us prasadam and we came out. And when we came out, we were walking to the car when Dr. S said, how does she know? So I told him that, all I want to do is go to JIPMA, because I told her that we're starting the procedure at 9:15. He said, but how does she know? I said, know what? She says, no, she knows about me. How does she know? I said, that's her nature. He said, okay, we'll go, but we need to have breakfast first. Then I said, no breakfast. I've told her I'm starting procedures at 9:15 and I've got to keep my word. And he said, no, let's have breakfast first. I said, we'll be late. He said, no, we'll have breakfast. And then he said, see, the driver needs to eat. I said, okay, fine. So we went to this hotel. We ordered breakfast for the driver first. And we went to JIPMA, 9:15. We entered the EP lab. And for the next, until about 12:30, half an hour past midnight, we did ablation procedures, one after the other. We did quite complex procedures. We took an hour break to go and see my professor. But aside from that, we did that. And so the next day morning also, we did procedures. And then we were driving back to Chennai when it came to my mind that divinity, just like a locomotive pulling many carriages, divinity does a lot of things all at once. So you have Dr. S. He was married once and then he was separated. He was divorced. And he was living with his father. And something about what she had said, asked about the family, he said, I should start looking to, find a life's partner again. He said, that's the message that I get from her. As to the staff of the cath lab, there were two nurses who worked the whole time. They had extraordinary strength. They did not complain. So, Ambal gave them the strength and the endurance to stay throughout. And at 12:30, actually, I asked them, is there anybody to relieve you? They said, no. I said, then we should stop the procedures now because, we've been going on for, a long time, something like 16 hours. And the patients, of course, they benefited because we do procedures, we cut and stitch, we put catheters in the heart, but it's divinity that determines the outcome. And as far as myself, I was grateful for the darshan. And my idea was, just going in there, have a flying darshan and go. And I thought that was that. And little did I realize that there was more to come. Sri Amma always, caught you off guard with a keen sense of humor. I remember once going to see her with my brother and Sashiraman and Shamla, and my wife was Vijay was also there. And I resolved to ask her, how's your health? How are you doing? And we went and sat down in front of her. And before I could utter anything, she turned to my brother and said, she turned to me and said, "Ni eppadi irukka?" And she turned to my brother and said, "See, I knew எனக்கு தெரியும் அவன் என்ன கேட்க போறான் நான் முன்னாடி அது முன்னாடி அவனே கேட்டேன்." Now we've heard of stories about Ambal when she talks to many people in a group, but only some people hear selectively what she wants to say. And I remember one of the gatherings, there was a patient where I'd come to do procedures in Whitefield in Bangalore, and that weekend I had to be with Ambal attending a function. And I went and asked her about a 4-year-old boy with a rapid heartbeat, and I was worried that we wouldn't be able to do the procedure. And I asked her, and she listened to everything, and she said, "Don't worry." And as she was going out, she stopped, called me, and she said, "Patient pati kavalapadada." And after she went, the people around me, I said, "Ye patient pati kavalapadadanu sonna enna pesina?" I only asked her, I heard her as saying, patient pati kavalapadada. And that is very important because we do these procedures, complex procedures, but the outcome is in our hands. Now, I'd like to conclude by saying something which I have to remind myself. All of us have a generous dose of anxiety, and eternal. Anxiety is eternal, always. And Maya is powerful. And we are constantly asking Ambal for all kinds of trinkets. I would like to have a blessing so that all of us can ask for something more meaningful, like how do we set about the journey to realize our true selves? So wherever we are, may Ambal's love and blessing continue to light the way. And let us all be hollow like the flute without ego, so that divinity can play its melody through us. Jai Nandalala, Madhuri Charanam.
Wow, that was beautiful, isn't it? We have come to an end of this beautiful journey today on Uttarashada Nakshatram, speaking about her. The capital H, her, was really continuous nectar to our ears. Not enough. I wish we could hear more. That's how it leaves us with wanting more. And yeah, it's we had 2 sessions, and I thank everyone for coming forward and talking about her and sharing your very personal incidents and throwing so much light, and others could get answers. And maybe your incidents has had a lot of solutions for another person, a devotee who is listening. It's all what Ambal has advised or given suggestions and remedies. And you've shared all that very important things with all of us. And that's really so much. I don't know how much thanks I can give, but it's really, thank you so much. But it is another side of it is only if she wants, you could have come and said whatever you did. So she picked you all, and you all came here and you spoke. So if you see from that angle, I have to thank her for giving you that opportunity, for giving you this platform. And thanks to her and thanks to Sankara Vimochana Ganapati for our flawless, no hiccups, no problems with internet, Wi-Fi connections, and the YouTube, everything was, the live feed was great. Thank you, Amma. Thank you, Lord Ganesha. And with that, we end this beautiful session. And what a beautiful way of starting our Tamil New Year with all these beautiful memories. We'll, end the day today here. And in India, you all are starting the day. And it's beautiful. Happy New Year. புத்தாண்டு வாழ்த்துக்கள் for all of you. Jai Nandalala, Adiyoli Charanam.